Hey guys, it's Julie. We are back. This is our third Creating for Christ study, and I am so glad that you've joined us. I want you to know that I think we have over 500 people who have signed up for this study, and honestly, that is so exciting for Rhonda and for me. I'm excited because that means that you want to spend time in the Word and dig in and take some time, especially during this busy holiday season, to focus on what is important at Christmas, and that's Jesus. I remember when I was little, I would go to church with my grandmother at the Palm Harbor United Methodist Church. And I remember a song that she taught me and that I would sing there. And it went like this. And I'm not going to sing it, so don't turn off the video right now. If you think that I can sing, you are sadly mistaken. But the words go like this: Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. There's just something about that name. Master, Savior, Jesus, like a fragrance after the rain. Jesus, 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 let heaven and earth proclaim. Kings and kingdoms will all pass away, but there's something about that name. I remember singing that. I remember standing beside Meemaw and just singing that song. And in my mind, I'm singing it even now. But that's what we're going to talk about over the next 5 videos over the month of December, the name of Jesus. You know, Christmas is about so many things. It's about presents and friends and gifts and happiness and sometimes sadness, isn't it? It's about joy and giving and so many things. But ladies, let's not forget, Christmas is always about Jesus. Always about Jesus. Everything else is secondary to that. So, Rhonda and I, in this series on Jesus, are going to pick just 5, y'all, there's so many, but just 5 of the different names that Jesus is called throughout the Bible. Each week, we're going to take about 15 minutes and talk about one of those names. Now, the name that I'm going to talk about today, because it's time to jump in, is this: the Good Shepherd. And I guess I have to ask myself, why would Jesus refer to himself as the Good Shepherd? He does it a number of times, particularly in John chapter 10. So I want to ask you guys to look at the first verse that we're going to talk about this week, and it's John chapter 10, verse 14. And I'm going to read the verse, and then we're going to break some things down. Okay, so are you ready? So John chapter 10, verse 14 says this: I am the Good Shepherd. I know my sheep, and they know me. And that's where we're going to stop. Jesus is saying, I am the Good Shepherd, I know my sheep, and they know me. So I guess my first question, and the thing that I want to talk to you about initially, is this: why does Jesus refer to himself this way? And in order to gain some insight on this, we need to look back and see what a Middle Eastern shepherd did, see what they were thought of in their society, see what their life was like, because we need to have a familiarity with this. I still don't think I said it right, but you guys, we need to be familiar with it, right? Because here's the thing: when Jesus is talking, he's talking to people in that time period. He's talking to people and using illustrations that they would understand. We're looking at this now and we're seeing Jesus call himself a shepherd, and we don't really know much about shepherds. I don't even know that I've ever met a shepherd, other than the one in the Christmas play that wears the robe, you know. But you guys might have. I haven't. So I need to know something about a shepherd to understand the illustration that Christ is making here. Guys, lesson number 1 in Bible study, always remember this: context, context, context. When you look at a verse, it's very important to look around, see what else is going on then, see what is happening in the society at that time, see what the background of the speaker is. As much context as you can learn is so important, because it's going to give you a background into what it is you're getting ready to study. So let's talk about shepherds in Middle Eastern times. First of all, you need to understand this. They were very low on the social scale. Very, very low. In fact, I think it's safe to say that they were probably toward the bottom. One commentary I read said that shepherds were kind of thought along as the same lines as con men, vagrants, gypsies. You know, so that is kind of the perception that society had of shepherds during that time period. They probably were not well educated because they spent most of their times in the fields. And in fact, many or a few people during that time period were really well educated. Shepherds certainly were not. Many times the youngest son of a family would become the shepherd for the family. So you might have a young son situation, and that's important because in this culture, the firstborn son was everything. Everything. So the youngest son was really thought of least in the family. So you have that situation. So that's a shepherd. In fact, shepherds couldn't even testify in court because their testimony was not considered trustworthy. So this is the perception of a shepherd when Christ is saying, I am the good shepherd. The people hearing him are like, hold up a minute, really? Are you sure the shepherd is the comparison that you want to make? That's the perception of a shepherd. Now, a shepherd worked in a very, very difficult environment. They were outdoors almost all of the time caring for those sheep. Not only did they have environmental issues that they had to deal with, dealing with land, dealing with occasionally lack of crops, dealing with mountainous regions at times. So there were geographical issues to deal with. There were also issues of protection. Sheep by nature are defenseless creatures. Think about it. They don't have a protective hide, if you will, like maybe an armadillo or something would. They don't have sharp talons or teeth. They don't have a loud, distinctive sound that could scare a predator away. Really, we see them at Easter and whatnot. We look at them and we're like, they're just so cute. But y'all, they can't protect themselves at all. What are they going to do to the lion? Just baw at it? They have nothing except the shepherd. So see, the sheep are totally dependent on the shepherd. Now, the shepherds during this time period have three main tools in their arsenal to care for the sheep. The first was the rod, and you guys have heard of this. The rod and the staff, they comfort me, from the Psalms. So a rod is a piece of solid oak. It's probably 5 or 6 feet long, and at the end, there are nails. Now that's a tool that a shepherd would use as it was attacking a predator trying to get to the sheep, maybe a wolf or a lion or some kind of predator trying to get them. The staff, that's what we think of when we think of, little Bo Peep and all. That's like the little candy cane shaped thing. That was used maybe as a walking stick, also as some protection. And then the third thing that they had was a little packet or little pouch that they would have stones in. And those stones and slings would be something that they would use to sling a stone at a predator to hit them, to hurt them, to get them away from the sheep. Now, I know right now you guys are thinking, oh, that's what David did to Goliath. And you're exactly right. And what is interesting about that is that David was able to draw on his experience as a shepherd protecting the sheep to know with confidence that the skills God gave him there would be the same skills he would need to kill Goliath. So those were the things that a shepherd would have. So their job was difficult, dangerous environments, protecting the sheep. And then also, they would have to find food and water for the sheep. Now, that is easier said than done, particularly the water. Because here's the thing, sheep by nature, according to what I've researched, are very, very scared of running water. That's why the Psalms, when they say, you lead me by still waters, it's talking about how a sheep needs the still water. Why is that? Because if a sheep falls in running water or rough water, odds are they'll drown. They're not good swimmers at all. And think about the water on their heavy wool, weighing them down, pulling them down. So they are by nature innately scared of running water. In fact, I've heard, now I don't know if this is true or not, because like I said, I don't know a shepherd, nor do I have sheep. But in my research, I heard that a sheep standing by a stream with running water will die before he drinks out of that water. So many times the shepherd would have to build almost a little kind of stone dam to create a pool of some settled water so that the shepherd could drink. So again, or not the shepherd, but the sheep. So again, we have the shepherd at the low people on the totem pole. We have them operating in a dangerous environment. We have them protecting their sheep. We have them in difficult circumstances. And we have those sheep totally dependent on the shepherd. Now, there's another thing that I want to talk about, though, when I talk about shepherds, particularly when I talk about them caring for the sheep. And this is very interesting. Many times shepherds would pool together and they'd take their flocks and they'd group them all in together. So you would have a large flock with multiple shepherds. Well, when the time would come to separate the sheep, these sheep go with this guy, these sheep go with this guy, you can imagine, well, how in the world would they do that? How would they know whose sheep are whose? This is so interesting. Sheep know their shepherd's voice. Now, if you've been in the Bible before, you know that right now. You know where it says, my sheep hear my voice. But y'all, in reality, with literal sheep and literal shepherds, they know the shepherd's voice. So the shepherd will call the sheep, and only the sheep that belong to that shepherd will come. The others will stay, or they'll go to their shepherd when their shepherd calls them. So it's very, very interesting. Now, these are the basics, I would say, of the shepherd life that the people listening to Christ would have known when he said, I am the good shepherd. Okay? So you good on that? All right, good. Because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop this video right now, and I'm going to do a part 2. Now we're going to dig in on John 10, and we're going to break this apart, this whole good shepherd concept as it relates to Christ. Okay? So next video is coming right up. So don't go anywhere. We'll go get a coffee or something, but then come right back. I'll see you in just a minute.